to now, Mr. Elvis Marshall Camo Zia? I never get Zia Camo Marshall. What is Marshall? His real name's Marshall, right? Anyway, Mr. Elvis travels. Where to now, Elbow? He's in Florida. He has arrived. He has taken the journey from Illinois through Stockton, Kentucky, had some work done on his vehicle, the Lisa Marie, then he was in Georgia, and now he's in Florida. It's cold. He said it's cold actually at night down there, wherever he is. He just basically said, you know, he likes being now in Florida because it's one of those states where, you know, you don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to. You're supposed to. You're required. They ask you to, but if you don't want to, no one's going to make a big deal, you know. But he, you know, whatever. And he also said, and I guess, you know, this is probably some wisdom about social media. It's probably a wisdom about fame. It's probably a wisdom about YouTube, and that is, you don't really make friends on YouTube. You know what I mean? You know, he said that. Even though there are people that like to watch him, even though people enjoy his channel, they subscribed, you know, there are trolls out there. He talks about the trolls. You know, he doesn't want them watching. But you know what? The trolls, they're viewers. They you know, a lot of these channels, I'll tell you something. A lot of people like to watch some of these people because they're fun to watch. They don't necessarily like you. I've always said about that. I've always said that about the Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern analogy. You know, the people that watch those people, they don't necessarily like Limbaugh and Stern, but they do like to watch somebody who's compellingly, oddly compelling. They do. A cult of personality. So his attack on the trolls, I don't want him watching, I don't want him this, I don't want him saying anything, you know, is kind of self-defeating if you're going to try to build a channel, wherever he's trying to build it, I guess on Facebook, because this is being relayed by Venetic Wolf. But anyway, Elvis just basically says that, you know, he's learned kind of that you don't really make friends on YouTube and, you know, or on social media or wherever. And your friendships come from real life. You know, ding dong, that is an enlightenment, you know. Now, I guess you could meet somebody initially on YouTube and then develop a real life friendship with them. That is possible. But, you know, if you never meet them, you know, hey, how do you know somebody you've never met, even though they seem like a friend on YouTube? Anyway, interesting video from Elvis. Is he that? I don't know if he's really that. He's just Elvis. Elvis being Elvis. But, so he's in Florida, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. I think he needed his steering fixed or something. Something was wrong with his steering, so I don't know. You know, he had a job up there in Chicago for a while. I don't know. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how he does his finances now without YouTube, because that was a good chunk of it. You know, you can't really make too much money being on Elvis Travels. I mean, on Facebook. Yeah. Anyway, and he also says he does still have a few friends that are helping him out, buying him steaks and stuff like that. But, you know, most of those people on YouTube, it's time, he said, it's time to move on. At Olmsted, the former flight attendant who's now living in her van is back at her mom's place up in wherever it is cold. Okay, we won't. It's somewhere where it's very cold and snowy and miserable, and she's been having difficulty getting her vehicle started because the temperature is cold, and then there she is in, I guess, her mom's kitchen having a nice cup of joe. So anyway, she had some good times down in Florida. And, you know, it is nice to have parents or friends where you can kind of get out of the van and get a good shower and have a nice sleep in a guest room somewhere on a real bed with a real flushing toilet and a nice shower. Shower is always a good thing, especially when it's cold. Nice warm shower. Anyway, Samantha R. Olmsted. One of the things she says, and it is true, if it's cold weather, your car might not start. Your vehicle might not start. She's been having that trouble. She probably just needs a new battery. You know, even if it gets pretty cold, if you got a good battery, it should start, okay? You know, but if your battery's starting to wear out and conk out, you know, the first thing you will notice, yes, is that when on cold mornings it may not start. So I would advise her to Get a new battery, especially if she's going to be relying on her van for her living. Make sure that battery is in tip-top shape because you don't want it not starting. We got RV Rebel Girl down in the Florida Keys, Sombrero Beach at Marathon. Got a couple of new ones from Wonder Hussy, Corn Springs Oasis, Bohemian Desert Camp. Think it was hard to find a campsite in 2020? Wait till you see 2021, says RV Miles. Things are only going to get better. I mean, not better, worse. Anyway, I will let you watch this. It's a good video here, RV Miles. Say hello to 2021. No, the year of the RV will be 2021. The prices of RVs are probably going to go up. It's going to be harder to find new RVs. It's going to be harder to get campgrounds. More and more people are going to be, going to be traveling, going to be hitting campgrounds, especially over the summer. Things are not going to completely recover this year with the pandemic. There's got, people are really, the ones that didn't go out for vacations in 2020 and stayed hunkered down are really going to be juicing to get out into the wild west and stuff like that. And it's got to, and still airlines are still a thing that people are a lot of, I don't want to do that if I have to wear the mask and get the COVID test and all that stuff. And that's going to be happening through a good chunk of this year for sure. So it's going to be a big year for camping, RVs, and crowded parks. And it's going to be even harder to find a campground. I just kind of summarized what he said, but watch him. He says it better than letters. Betty Smith, some of the best tailors used to be men. They still are. Some of the tailors and some of the biggest fashion designers are guys. We're talking about Foresty Forrest and his sewing machine, and he's sewing. Anyway, sewing is a skill. Good for Foresty Forrest. Why not? God bless. Amen. Amen to that. We were talking about certain nomads that just disappear. A nomad will be like, we've seen that with RV Joey, we've seen that with Bex, the cat herder, we've seen that now with Van Life Sheldon's Travels Mike and Steph. They do videos on a regular basis, then they just disappear for a while. And then they reappear, People like to, what happened? Where were you? It's getting harder to get really comfortable, some of these YouTube channels, says Pat. When the creators fall off the face of the earth, what is odd is that when they return months later and don't say much. If you have fans, subscribers, it's good to keep people abreast of what's going on, even if you say, I'm going offline for a few months to take care of some things. And that's fine. People have private stuff to do. Who knows what's going on? They got relatives they may have to take care of. They got other issues. But it would be nice if somebody says, hey, folks, I'm going to be taking some time off for a couple months. I'll see you in July or whatever, I have a lot of channels subbed to where the videos just end and they just stop. Yeah, and people do worry. They like you. They enjoy your channel, and all of a sudden you're not there for months and months. Are you all right? Okay, yeah. Snow and Kurt were not trying to get back into the U.S. They were trying to continue their worldwide trek into Guatemala, getting out of Mexico into Guatemala. Yeah, I just watched their new video just a few minutes ago. Says me, Gulf Red said that they've been sitting out the pandemic in Mexico for a year with their 2 kitties. They produce great travel videos without all the drama, and they can afford their van maintenance. Yeah, I'm just getting into their channel, and I'm trying to establish myself as to where they are. Yeah, the title of it made it sound like they were trying to get into the States, but they were trying to get into Guatemala. So the latest video they just posted, they're into Guatemala, right? I think they want to get down to Costa Rica, but it is a lot when you travel, especially when you're in Central America. There, you got all these little countries, Nicaragua and El Salvador and Honduras and Nicaragua and El Salvador and Honduras and you got to cross all these little borders, and it's a pain. I think we've seen Nomadic Movement talk about that a couple times because they're down in Panama, and Trent Nally had to do that, what was it, a year or two ago. So, yeah, it is a lot of every country is a little different, and they military things, and, it's a pain getting across the border, and then you have to get permits, and then the police constantly are stopping you, asking for your permits, and Fred Weiss says, my grandfather invented the zigzag pattern for the Singer sewing machine factory in New Jersey, and my grandmother was an RN for Singer for 45 years. Wow, Fred Weiss. Again, we're talking a lot about sewing today. I may start doing a sewing channel, crochet, maybe I'll start covering crochet channels. I don't know, might be more interesting than some of these nomads. Another one here from Pat. People lose their minds on van builds. They spend much money for boutique living quarters. You can do a van build for next to nothing. In fact, people should do baby steps and not build out until they have gotten comfortable with their setups. It's obviously a huge change from going from a house to an apartment to a vehicle. People can start with a cot, some plastic dressers and containers, a folding table, and then go camping for a week or two. It takes time, but you will end up reconfiguring your setup to suit your space, your habits, your processes, consumption, etc. Yeah, you know what? Bob said that. Cheap RV Living Bob said that. He said, if you buy a van and you want to go out and live in it, just get the basics. Get a mattress. Just basic stuff, and don't fix it all up. And then see what you need. Go out and do like a week camping or a couple weekends or something, and see what you need and what you desire, and then come back and do that. But don't go and do a whole big van build right off the bat, because you'll obviously need to do it again and again and again, like some of these YouTubers. I built my van out and now I got a whole bunch of things I got to change, right? Good advice there from Pat. Okay, this is I'm not doing any political ads, but this is funny. Dave G says that Trump campaign bus that was being put up for sale for $135K. The bus might be a great deal. It only shows one insurrection on Carfax. That's just funny. I'm sorry. It's just funny. Solidude 406 says, what would many nomads do if for some odd reason YouTube stopped paying AdSense funds and stopped live chats, super chats? Would they have to change their whole lifestyle? Care to speculate? Yes! I've always wondered that. What would nomads do if all of a sudden the money from YouTube stopped? There are other alternatives. There are other places to put your videos up, but there is PayPal, and there are other ways to raise some money. There is Patreon. So yeah, I think that we would see people jumping to other platforms or doing YouTube, but accentuating. There are ways to raise money without going through YouTube. So I think we'd see some of that. But if all the money just dried up, and it used to be in the olden days that when you went out living on the road in a van, there was no way to really make money. There was no such thing as online, YouTube, Patreon, PayPal. There wasn't any of that. You could work. You could do like work in campgrounds or get temporary jobs and stuff like that. There wasn't even DoorDash. I don't know. Things would change dramatically, I think, If YouTube stopped monetizing everything and just kicked everybody off, I think you'd see a lot of nomads, think about, it's time to get a jobby poo, huh? That Canadian chick says, I love Rosie, but she needs to chuck those Daisy Dukes out the window. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. It is Letters and More for the 3rd of February, 2021. Happy Wednesday. You all take care. Talk to you later. Blog under.